Oh boy,
they're a mess.
Too easy. Kurt.
You know I learned all that from you guys, right? I used to be a nice, clean guy.
What day was that?
Brigid, just so you know, these guys are always picking on me.
True story.
Okay.
It's a true story.
It is.
Our only fan sent me a T-shirt.
It's true.
It is totally true. Poor Kurt.
Poor Kurt.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Bourbon Boys, the podcast where guys get together to talk about bourbon, about life, lore, and libation, and everything that comes with being a dad. We're not bourbon snobs, just a group of guys who like bourbon for what it is and how it tastes. It's pretty simple. This is podcast number 59. I'm Alton. I'm here with the Bourbon Boys. We got Kurt.
Hey there.
Krat.
Hey.
And Dew.
Yo.
We are in for a treat tonight. This is actually episode 59, and I don't know what edition, maybe 6 or so of Staring Down the Barrel.
Close.
Yeah, it's
We have a couple.
I think so.
Yeah. So,
could be.
Handful of those Staring Down the Barrels when we get the chance to bring some of the partners who actually make and distribute this beautiful product that we enjoy so much. And tonight we've got a couple of pours from some new friends of ours from the Rotten Little Bastard Distillery in Beaufort, South Carolina. Lovely, soon to be very hot Beaufort, South Carolina. So Brigid, Brian, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Awesome. Well, here's what we're going to do. We've got 2 bottles on the table. One is a hand pour that one of our very own Bourbon Boys actually,
Yes.
probably, hopefully didn't spill.
That was a lot of fun.
He said he washed his hands when he was pouring the bottle.
Afterwards. So,
It's fine with first to be hand sanitizer.
so we're going to get into these 2 bottles, but first let's turn it over to Kurt, and so we can meet our Brigid and Brian, learn a little bit more about Rotten Little Bastard.
Well, okay, so first of all, I love the name. So, because Dave calls me a big fucking baby all the time, so I was like, this is great. So thanks for joining us, and I'm going to kick it off with a little life conversation, but I think, and focus around what you guys are doing, but can you just tell us a little bit about your background, how you actually came to bourbon and the world of spirits?
So, was not a bourbon guy, but wanted to open a rum distillery.
Okay.
And
Okay.
I went to distilling school in Louisville, Kentucky. You know what they teach you?
Yeah.
Make bourbon.
Make bourbon.
So I spent a lot of time hand in hand with a guy who was also taking the class, who's a chef. And he taught me how to taste bourbon and what to look for. And, we started with like some Elijah Craig, did some Wolford's Reserve, did a couple other ones, did a couple higher end ones. And he was showing me flavor notes and tasting notes and what I was looking for. And then he says, now it's up to you to figure out what you like and what you don't like.
All right. And there's a lot out there to choose from. So
Sure is.
I'm getting to be more every day.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Yep.
So how long ago was that, Brian?
When did I go to school?
They both look like
July 2016.
It's hanging up on the wall.
Okay.
There's a certificate right behind me.
All right. So
great.
almost 7 years ago. That's great.
Yeah.
Okay. So after
A lot of bourbon since then.
I bet.
Sure.
And so after school, when did you decide that it was time to open a distillery?
Tuesday of school.
Day 2.
That's awesome.
That was his, I think I want to do this. I'm going to go to this school and let's see. And so, I got the call in the middle of the week and he's like, oh yeah, we're doing this.
That's
Wow.
awesome.
That's cool.
Love it.
That's brilliant.
All right. So it sounds like you tasted a lot of bourbons when you were up there. Was that the first time you tasted bourbon or?
Probably.
Okay. So.
Because I was a rum guy. I like rum.
Okay.
So tell me this real quick, Brian. You don't need to flip it around, but you said you wanted to do rum. You get there and you're tasting bourbon. You obviously ended up with a distiller that produces some of both. Which one is the favorite now?
So there's pretty much always our bourbon at our house
Yep.
and our aged rum.
Okay. All right.
The straight rum, I buy that and take it home occasionally. So in South Carolina, if I want to take bourbon home, I have to buy it retail at the counter to take it home.
Yeah.
South Carolina's got, being from South Carolina, they're growing up there. There's some lovely things. The ABC system
Lots of rules.
is phenomenal and logical.
But our aged rum that he was talking about is aged in a new American white oak barrel. He took one of the barrels we bought to put bourbon into and put the rum in there. So it wasn't put into a used barrel, it was put into a new barrel. So that's why it still has a lot of the oaky flavors from the barrel.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
It's a good call.
That's very cool. So we now know your first bourbon experience. So what was the brand that kind of did it for you when you were up there?
Just knowing that I wanted to open a distillery and finding out that there was, some bourbons out there that I actually liked.
Mm-hmm.
What side of the flavor profile chart, that I liked, so I kind of knew what I wanted to emulate.
Okay.
Specific brand, I have more to do with mash bills and styles.
Okay.
Not necessarily brands. I mean, because we did a lot of blind testing.
Yeah.
At the class, you come in. One morning we came in and there's 14 Glencairn glasses, all with a half a shot of bourbon in them.
What time was this?
Good morning.
8:00 in the morning.
That's a good. I got to start my mornings like that.
Little siesta.
Cowboy up.
I bet you I might be really productive actually. So,
By 4, probably.
by 4, maybe. Yeah. So
Wake up from a nap.
2 or 3 nights where we had bourbon tastings where people from the industry would come in and
sure.
I love it.
one was a mixed drink class and the other ones were taste this bourbon, taste that bourbon.
Sure. So, so it's pretty clear that you were a day in and decided you were going to start a distillery after drinking bourbon for one day. So that's pretty remarkable.
2 days.
We've been doing it 2 days. Okay, we'll give you 2 days.
He's not that
2 days.
impulsive.
A day and I'm going to say a day and a half, actually. Yeah, he's not that impulsive, exactly. So I'll decide on Monday, but I'm not calling her till the end of the day, Tuesday.
It seems early.
So, I'm curious. So, family, like you come home from this class, and the two of you, Brigid and Brian, you're like have to like tell the family, "Hey, we're starting a distillery." So, like, what was the reaction to that?
Everybody pretty much thought it was cool. I mean, obviously, we told our son that we were talking about doing this, and we said, we had the money set aside for his college, that, we were going to be able to keep the house, and that grandma and grandpa would always make sure he was fed. And and he said no. He said that was good. That was all his worries. So, but, I mean, my dad is a scientist. He thought it was, really cool that we were going to learn how to do all this stuff. When the hardest part was trying to come up with a name, but that's when we got the Rotten Little Bastard, was from, his sister brought up the idea that
that's what I've been called my whole life.
His entire life. So
I was waiting for you to say your son gave you the idea, but
No. My mom's called me that since I was about 3.
Oh my god!
It's a term of endearment.
Las Vegas, Nevada.
Yeah.
I had a few more opportunities to get in trouble that other kids didn't have.
Yeah.
And I was a quiet kid, so she used to have to go and hunt me down to see what I was getting into, and she'd always say, "What's that rotten little bastard up to now?" Try to find me.
That is awesome.
Ouch.
he deserved every bit of that.
Oh, geez.
He totally deserved it.
Okay,
There's a
so
lot of stories.
so we'd love to hear all those stories. So so everybody said it was cool. Was it like cool? Those people are crazy, or cool? This is really cool.
I don't know. On my side, they're like, well, everything he's ever tried, he succeeded at. So
Okay.
this is just something different. And her family was like, I don't know.
Give it a try.
It's not the first business he's opened, and this time we're doing it together.
That's cool. So
love it.
obviously this is long term for you guys. You see a long vision for this thing in the future.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. What's your son going to school for?
Computers. Right now, computer science.
Okay.
He has no desire to be in the distillery.
Oh, really?
No.
Well, you have 3 or 4 sons here that would be more than happy to get involved with it. So.
That's right.
Be right over.
So that's cool. So I think I'm going to pass it off to Krat. You guys have anything else, or
No, and we're pouring as we do this. We're starting in on the Coosa Cut.
Coosa Cut, which for the listening audience is what? It's 93 proof.
93 proof.
Yep.
Yes.
Perfect. You want to tell us a little bit about it, Brian? You know it pretty well, I'm assuming.
You've had it before?
So when you're opening a distillery and you start studying mash bills and looking at different stuff, you have to, it's like, okay, we're going to put this stuff out at 2 years in a day, basically. Mm-hmm. So we need something that's very smooth going in the barrel, so it doesn't have to sit there for 8 years to get smooth.
Yep.
And I like stuff a little more on the sweeter side, so there's a lot more malted barley in it.
Yep.
There's way more rye than most have, so it's like 60% corn, 81% rye, and the rest is malted barley, which is 26% malted barley.
Yeah, 81, 26, whatever it takes.
Yeah. I can tell you exactly how many pounds it is.
I'm a fan of sweet on the sweet side as well. So first impression is very positive.
Yeah, it's nice.
Elton's the sweet guy of the four of us.
Yeah, exactly.
That's true. That's fair.
I thought I was a sweet guy.
No.
No? So, guys, I mean, it's pretty impressive that 7 years and you've got a bottle with a label and, I mean, that's pretty cool. 7 years is not a long time.
It took about 5 years for us to get open.
Yeah. We got our DSP in 2019.
Wow.
And then, it was one of those stories where, we had a still company and then they closed up and took our money. We had a different building, and then that got rented out from underneath of us. So but we found a new building. The building we have is great. We found a better still company. We're really happy with them. So everything happened, and then so we opened in June of 2020.
I remember that.
That's when the loan closed and everything happened, and that's when the pandemic was. Also,
everything was shut down.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I was just gonna say June 2020. Where was I? I was in my house.
Nothing was open.
Yeah. Definitely in the house.
The pandemic was only going to be a few more weeks.
Sure.
We're close. Yeah, we're close.
Yeah.
Not in the business plan. So that's
Wow. Well, we talked a little bit about how you guys got started, and just the idea of a 2 year. Did you guys explore like blends at all to kind of get started, or did you just went straight into it?
No, we came up with a mash bill and we found somebody that was making it.
Got it.
And said, okay, so we can get this from this guy by the barrel until ours ages in. So what you have is 100% Beaufort. We made it.
Love it.
There is no more of what we sourced to start with.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. That's awesome.
That's very cool.
So one of the things that, the four of us being marketers, we love to kind of understand the story, and we talked a little bit about the history, but what's some of the tradition or the lore around the brand Rotten Little Bastard? Like, if you guys had to think through like the day-to-day and the culture there, what do you guys stand for?
Well, we want people to feel comfortable when they come here. That's one of the things about having a name like Rotten Little Bastard. You tend to get people who think that's funny.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So we get people who are kind of coming in looking for a good time, a little bit more relaxed. We want to keep everything local. We get all of our grains from a place that's about an hour and a half away from us. We're picking up our first barrels actually. That's from a new cooperage that's only an hour away from us.
Oh, cool.
Picking up new barrels this weekend. So we really try to keep everything as close as possible. Our spent grains go to a local woman-owned regenerative farm for her pigs. So, we want to, a big part of our story is, local. We care about where we're from.
We're not polluting.
And we want people to come in here and learn something and enjoy our spirits. And so, when we give tours, we ask people to take, ask questions, take pictures. We want a conversation, not a presentation. We want people to feel like they can, come back and, learn something new each time.
Right.
So it's just relaxed. The low country is where we are, and people jokingly call it, the slow country.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes jokingly, sometimes, sometimes frustration. But we like that. We we want to exemplify that a bit here in the
Love
distillery.
that. Well, there's so much history and tradition down there. It just would make sense that you guys would have that as well. So that's great. And obviously with a name like Rotten Little Bastard, to your point, people come in, and I can't imagine that folks are looking for a presentation. They probably would much rather just sit down and have that conversation. So that's great.
Right.
Yes.
We keep our tasting tours small. We try to, just have fun with it.
Yeah, that's awesome. So you guys mentioned a couple times about, getting a piece of property pulled out from under you. What other kind of like things happened that you did not anticipate as y'all were kind of building and setting out the process?
Finding somebody to install a boiler.
Really?
What a nightmare.
Huh.
So the first boiler installer took the paperwork with him, which I didn't know he's not legally allowed to do. It has to stay with the boiler. So they could make a material list and figure out what it was going to be. And they sent us a quote to install the boiler. And every time I called, they kept saying, yeah, we'll be there next week. We'll be there next week. We'll be there next week. What they weren't telling me is the guy had cancer and was in the hospital.
Oh, boy.
Wow.
And he didn't beat cancer.
Oh.
But he had all my paperwork. And so then when I went to get another boiler installer, they're like, you have to have this paperwork or it can't get certified anyhow.
Right.
So the city was terrified of the boiler. They're afraid it's going to blow up. But the rest of, like the distilling equipment, they walked in, they said, who put that there? And I said, the manufacturer. And they said, okay. And they didn't even look at it.
We were actually we were surprised that, we weren't sure how our area was going to take this. We were the first distillery in our area. And so we weren't sure, but the city was, of Beaufort was very welcoming to us. They understood that we were a tourist draw, we're a manufacturing facility, all the different things. So they were, that was probably one of the easiest things that we thought was going to be a lot harder.
Excellent. Now, how involved is the city with you guys? Do y'all do kind of planning or anything like that, or is it you guys are just kind of there and they appreciate y'all being there?
With the chamber and stuff like that.
Yeah, we're involved in the chamber and the visitor center and all that kind of stuff. But as far as like the government goes, they don't. Once we did the original plans and stuff like that, I mean, they're welcome to stop by anytime they want, but nobody comes and does anything.
Got it. Okay, great. So, as you guys think about where you are in, these 2-year bottles and how you're building this business and this brand, what's the one big thing that keeps you guys up at night?
Money.
Yeah, I can imagine.
It's an expensive operation.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's we joke it's me and Brian in the bank. We don't have corporate sponsors or anybody else. It's just the two of us. That was another thing. It did take us a while to to get along because we did just want it to be the two of us. So that's been but of course, I mean that's kind of normal in any business.
Sure,
sure. The money part.
I think you guys need to make a T-shirt that has like the Better Business Bureau logo on it, but it's Brigid, Brian, and the bank.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Well,
that's a good idea.
Brian, there you go. You guys want to talk us through some of maybe the flavor notes and what we should be tasting here?
No.
No? Oh, come on.
Sorry.
So we have a bourbon tasting chart on the wall, and we have the bourbon wheel with all the different flavor notes on it. And it's been our policy since the beginning is what I taste and what you taste. We have different palates. We're going to taste different things.
Yep.
If I tell you what I think you're going to taste, then I think I'm ruining the experience for you.
So
I'd rather you guys tell me what you think.
Let's flip it. Let's flip it. So Derek has got some very interesting taste. I don't know, what do you call that? Tasting talents, maybe. He tends to pick up on some really interesting things. So dude.
I'm on Brian's camp of I'm very suggestive. If you say I'm going to taste something, we had a tasting at Woodford, and I don't know if the guy was just fucking with us or if there really was Parmesan cheese notes, but I was like, I do taste the Parmesan cheese. He's like, now you'll probably be tasting dark cherry. I'm like, I do taste the dark cherry.
Yes.
So to this day, they still bust my nuts for
the Parmesan
cheese. Yeah.
I don't know if I'd want Parmesan in my
I know. Yeah.
With you.
Until he says it, and then you're like, "That's not
dark
bad."
cherries. Cherries are good,
Right.
Yeah.
You know, and we've had people come in and give us pretty much the whole gambit of different things they've tasted. You know, yes, you're going to taste vanilla. Yes, you're going to taste caramel. It's from, you know, toast in the barrel.
Yep.
Sure.
Yep.
You know, the finer notes. I don't have your tongue in your sinuses. I can't tell you what you're going to taste.
Well,
I know what we taste.
Yeah.
With allergy season, I'm not sure any of us are tasting probably the 100%.
I don't know. There's a high level of the sweetness. It's almost like a banana sweet.
Yep.
You know,
Yes.
Custard. I'm picking up on some custard.
Yeah. So I like the sweetness.
Yeah.
It's really
And
good.
of course, there's the undertones of the vanilla and all that, like you said, from the wood and all that. But
Right.
there's the high level sweetness is.
Yep.
I think a banana.
It's got a great finish too. You know,
Yeah, it does.
we've talked about because this is 2 years, like you said, 2 years and a day ish. We've had some 2 years, which
That barrel was probably maybe 2 years, 3 months.
yeah,
I was gonna say, I don't know which barrel that bottle came out of. I know the 100. Yeah,
That one does.
The
This one doesn't.
barrel strength. I know what barrel it came out of
Yeah.
because we have that same one sitting there,
Yeah.
and it had the widest tasty note palette of all of them.
We'll get to that. We'll
The
get to that
ones we
one in a
tried.
minute for sure. I'm a big fan of the higher proof, so I'm excited about trying the next one for sure. So we are definitely not bourbon snobs. So like we will sit around and drink stuff and just make up flavors that we think we're tasting or smelling.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But
Yeah.
I am impressed. I am impressed, guys, with what I do taste. And kind of the array of flavors for a 2 year for sure.
Yeah.
So
No, it's very good. I've got a question for you though. Like, so you talked about the three of you, Brian, Brigid, and the bank. You got to obviously, like I said, it's an expensive enterprise to hold that inventory. But at the same time, I'm sure you were like, hey, we're going to sell some of this at 2 years and a day or shortly thereafter, but some of it we want to, start turning a 4 year product, a 5 year product. What kind of mix or what kind of balance? How did you balance the spreadsheet with what your heart really wanted to do on that?
We can't. What my heart really wants to do, I can't afford.
fair.
So basically, what we're trying to do right now is, if we sell 7 barrels in bottles this year, to make 14 barrels this year.
Okay.
So basically, double the production of what we're selling.
Okay.
That's how we're trying to grow the bourbon line. But yeah, if I had the money to buy grain in barrels and just do everything I wanted to do, there'd be a lot more barrels out there.
Hey, maybe
In
soon
due time.
enough. Soon enough. That's right.
You're on the right path.
Yeah.
For a 2 year.
I've stopped crying every time you
Stop
crying. What do you mean?
They're going to sit there for years. Yeah,
I know.
years.
I know exactly. I'm gonna visit them often, and
Yeah, let's encourage them.
Oh, she sits there and looks at him and says, "You know how much money sits there?
Yeah.
And it's not worth anything until it goes in the bottle." But
Right.
I've had people try to buy full barrels. From
I bet.
Oh, I'm sure.
yeah.
South Carolina won't let us do it.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Yeah, well, that doesn't surprise me.
Alton, can't you call some people?
What they
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
know won't hurt them, Brian.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, didn't you see that show, The Big Heist? Just pull the truck up to the.
Yeah. We got a couple trucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, they weren't paying for them though, Alton. They were just
Yeah.
taking them.
We'll work on that.
We can pay for 'em.
We'll pay for them.
Yeah. No, we've had some 2 years that taste very, very young.
Yeah.
Like they hit the date and they just started pouring into bottles and it should have waited.
Yeah.
This
is very
for
good.
a 2 year, it's surprising.
Yeah.
Like how
Well-
tasty it is and how smooth.
Well, when you look at part of the reasons it's so smooth is I make cuts different than a lot of people do. When I went to school, I stood next to the guy who was the Master Distiller from Brown Foreman.
Mm-hmm.
That's taught distilling.
Yep.
And he was always smelling the distillate coming off the still, and I'm like, Pete, what are you smelling for? What are you looking for? What are you doing? So I spent a lot of time there. I didn't spend a whole lot of time taking notes or doing any of that business stuff that I should have done in the other parts of the classes. But this guy's one of the best there is in the world
Yeah.
at what he does. And I picked his brain for they called it a 5-day distilling course. Now they call it a 6-day. But it started Sunday at 2:00 in the afternoon and got out Saturday at noon.
Oh, wow.
It's not 5 days on my calendar.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't know how that math works.
Yeah, I'm like, how do you call this 5 days? And they're like, these days are optional. But yeah, he taught me when you're tasting the heads coming off or smelling the heads coming off, what I was looking for. So I cut heads a little tighter, so less heads to the hearts. And it's the same on the tail side. I'm looking for a specific mouthfeel on the tail side. And when I get that mouthfeel, and I say it's a bitter taste, a couple of the people that work here say that part's delicious. And it's like, I don't like the way it feels in my mouth. I cut it. And put that in the barrel. So I start with something that's smooth going in. The barrel's not going to make bad liquor good. It will make good liquor better.
So, Brian, for our 3 listeners that listen to this podcast, can you just give a quick description of like what you mean by head, heart, tail? Because I think that's a new term for a lot of people who probably have never really experienced distilling and the process.
So when you got your mash and you've fermented it off and you put it in your still, the first thing that's going to come off is what's called the heads. And that's where the methanol is, acetone, isopropyl, all the nasty flavored alcohols that you really don't want. And some of them are toxic. You want as little of those as possible. Does some still get in there? A tiny bit. But if you buy a beer, it's in there too.
Right.
Because it's the same thing. It's yeast creating alcohol. But with a still and a reflect, I can't even think, I'm so tired.
That's okay.
The tower, it compacts them so that it's easier to cut them out. So we collect the heads only as a sanitizer. So we run it through our hoses and through our equipment after we clean everything to make sure there's nothing living in there because high-proof alcohol went through there. That we don't want to drink, but it still kills all the bacteria that could possibly be in there. And then the hearts is the part you want to keep. It's the majority of the ethanol. It still has like fermenol and a couple other things in there that help create those flavor notes that you taste. So if you cut them all out, you have a kind of flat, bland bourbon. It doesn't have any flavor notes in it. You need those other things in there to react with those natural sugars in that barrel to create those other flavor notes.
Sure.
I can't explain that to somebody. If you stand here and I could show you what I'm tasting and why, at this point it's like, this is what I don't want. And I turn the valve and quit collecting. And that's the tails. And we just leave the tails in the mash because it's going to the pig farms and the pigs like it.
I bet they do.
Those lucky pigs.
Do the pigs get a buzz?
Occasionally they do.
Really?
We've done some tipsy pig videos.
Tipsy pigs. I like it. That could be
another brand.
That could be a brand extension right there.
That's another great T-shirt.
The Tipsy
Pigs.
Yeah.
I love it.
Good barbecue
Love
smoker.
Yeah.
Called the Tipsy Pig.
That'd be a great name for a bacon. Tipsy Pigs.
Sure.
Yeah.
It would be.
Right? We can make that happen.
We could make that happen. All right.
Man. All right. I've got more
This is
questions.
great, by the way.
This is fantastic. I have more questions. We talked about the mash bill. We talked about you sourcing everything locally, not being a contractor for, others, getting your mash bill, the way you want it. It's the two of you plus a couple other folks. What's the process? How are you creating all this bourbon, all this alcohol?
We work a lot.
Okay.
And I was working full-time up until November at another job, and now I'm full-time at the distillery. So I am now the still hand. I'm a very bad still hand, but I'm still the still hand. So I clean out all the machines. I move the mash from the mash tun to the fermenters, bottling, that kind of stuff. I'm working in the distillery and then also doing the paperwork and all that kind of stuff during the week. And then on the weekends, Brian comes in and that's when he's distilling. And then he's grinding the grains for the next week. Because it takes about a week for everything to ferment.
Okay, yeah, that was my next question of what's the cycle time between, okay, roll in the new empty barrel, we got to get some distillate in there.
Yeah, my still is a 300-gallon still. So you get roughly 20 to 25 gallons, depending on how well the yeast reacted that time.
Okay.
So we collect runs consecutively until we have enough to fill barrels.
Yeah,
gotcha.
So I proofed down some bourbon earlier today. Well, it's not bourbon yet because it's not in the barrel. But I proofed it down to the 120 that we're going to put it in the barrel. And tomorrow I'm picking up barrels. And on Saturday, I'll fill them while running the still, while making mash.
Oh, yeah.
That's awesome.
Have you experimented at all with like the smaller barrels? I'm just curious when you know, if you've got overrun.
Experimented for us, no, but I went and found some people that were using them and tried them.
Yep.
And they don't taste the same.
Yeah, I didn't know. I know they don't taste the same. They're usually not as good, quite honestly, but I didn't know, since you're putting such a good product into it, if, like you said, the barrel only makes good bourbon better. I was just curious if you could have a little success where other people have failed.
I haven't been to another distillery where they're using the littler barrels, where when I taste their stuff, I'm like, damn, that's good.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've been to a couple that's like, okay, I'll buy this and take it back to the distillery, and all the guys will all try it and talk about it.
Yeah.
Have you guys found that the community of distillers and owner operators is it fairly open to where you can ask for help and consultation and advice, or is it pretty closed? That's great.
Yep. For the most part, we've been very lucky. We've had a lot of people that, when we were talking about this, gave us their cards and said, give us a call when you're starting up, we'll help you. We're members of the South Carolina Distillers Guild. Yep. And, we get together and everybody's swapping ideas and stuff. This worked for us, that didn't, that kind of thing. So that's been very, very helpful. And, go to the conferences and stuff and people, I'm on chats with people in other states, hey, we're trying this. Has anybody tried that? And swapping ideas a lot that way. It's been very helpful.
Most of the local guys that are actually running distilleries, we've all been to each other's distillery.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And it's like, I went to see Chris at Cannon. I walked in, and his wife was at the front, and I'm like, hey, I'd like to talk to the distiller. And she's like, oh, he's not here. And I'm like, okay. I pulled out my card and handed it to her. And I said, tell him Brian from Rotten Little Bastard was here, wanted to talk to him. And I didn't make it out the door. And they're like, hey, you come in the back. All right,
that's great. That's great.
So, basically, he's like, hey, we had met several times before, but I'd never seen his equipment up and running. And then now he's moving it and upsizing it, so it's not up and running now.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. I mean, it's such a craft too. I mean, when you get something that's a craft, you get artisans. It's like they want to share, they want to talk about it. There's a passion there. So that's great.
He's made some very interesting things that tasted really good, but because his still is only 100-gallon still, he does a lot of the small barrels.
Gotcha.
Okay. And but he took a barrel. I forget what he put in it, but he's one of the people that I'm like, okay, so this doesn't taste the same. What's your mash bill? He's one of the people that's like, I'm like, this is another one of these small barrel bourbons that, it looks right. It doesn't feel right. It doesn't taste right.
Yeah.
Not for the products that that we have.
Right. That's great.
Now, earlier you talked about trying to source everything locally, and you said that you're getting a lot of your raw ingredients. And you're grinding it yourself. You're making the recipe in house, and you're getting all that in South Carolina.
Yes, all of our corn comes from either Palmetto Malt, which is owned by Jared Weathers, and he also owns Jared Weathers Farms, or the Weather Family Farms. So it's him, and it's a conglomerate of other farmers. So there's a guy that grows rye. There's a guy that grows wheat. They grow a lot of barley. They're supplying a lot of the local breweries with barley.
Gotcha.
He likes supplying us with barley. He goes, you guys are easy. It's like, these guys are always like, do this, do that, do this. And you're like, just ship it.
We'll take it. Where do you, and the cooperage, is that a South Carolina cooperage?
The one we're going to tomorrow to pick up barrels is.
Oh, all right. It's
an hour and 20 minutes from the distillery.
Okay.
Wow. Very nice.
And are you participating in the assembly or the charring, or are you picking them up the way?
No, I'm just
picking them up.
Just picking them up. I don't want to. I've taken barrels apart, and I mess with ones that occasionally leak. I do not want to be responsible for that.
Okay, that's fair.
Well, Brian, it seems like you got a little bit of time.
And our spare time, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
What's your char level? Because I know that we've always talked about the various levels of char and the different flavors that come from that, and the filtering that's required if you go all the way up to the 4 or beyond. What do you guys prefer?
Number 3.
Number 3.
3 char.
There you go.
Heavy toast. Number 3 char.
Okay.
Like it.
And what got you to that point? How did you figure that one out?
Tasting different stuff and finding out what they had.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, so I know if you go to like 4, I heard some places doing what they're calling a 6, which I don't know what the hell that is. But I tried a bourbon that was 5, and it just tasted like charcoal to me. It's
Okay.
like, oh, it's really oaky. And I'm like, yeah, but it's not good.
Right, yeah. Yeah, you got all that in there.
That's the Kingsford version.
Kingsford.
Yeah. So trying to find something, I want to make something I would like. Hopefully other people would like.
Sure.
And when 4 hours at the class was all learning about barrels and chars and toasts, what the difference was. And then they brought out more bourbon to sample, and they're like, this is a number 4, this is a number 3.
That makes sense.
So you could taste the difference from, one distillery, same mash bill, different char levels, different age levels, what it's doing.
Now, I'm the one that was able to tour your space, and Brigid told us it was well, you were working pretty hard too. I saw your handiwork though as an electrician. I mean, all the conduit was arrow straight. I mean, it was everything was gapped and spaced and bent perfectly. If anyone has OCD in like electrical or plumbing, just walk in there. It's very calming.
It's attention to detail, and this still needs attention to detail. If you're not standing there watching it and tasting it and smelling it, you're not going to get a good distillate.
Yep. I did.
Computers don't have taste buds.
No, I'm glad they don't.
Yeah,
we need a job.
Yeah.
Can't lose that one. But I didn't count how many barrels you had under the roof, and that's the one location you have, right?
Yeah.
Yep, that's all of them.
What have you got in the in there?
26 in bourbon, 1 in left for aged rum, and 2 for our American whiskey.
Okay.
Nice. And is your plan?
We're filling more tomorrow.
We're filling 4 more on Saturday.
Okay.
3 of them will be bourbon, 1 will be rum.
And is the life of your barrel to then become a whiskey, to then become a rum? Are you trying to reuse them and pass them from bourbon to others?
Our American whiskey, yes.
Yep.
Goes into one of our spent barrels. And then the brewery wants 4 of them, but I may put other stuff in them before it gets to us having 4 sitting around.
Okay.
The atmosphere here will dry them out rapidly. So you have basically 10 days from the barrel manufacturing to fill it, or it's going to leak.
Oh.
Wow. I would have thought with the humidity.
Yeah.
They start drying up pretty much right away.
That's interesting.
The barrels we're picking up, you ordered them, Monday or Friday?
Friday.
You ordered them Friday. We're picking them up the following Friday.
You're on the clock.
They'll be filled Saturday.
Sure. And Brigid, you were saying that being in Beaufort and being right on the water, cool space. A Second Life K-Mart. They're in the automotive section, so they've got 4 roll-up doors and an office space.
It's my favorite department, by the way.
It's so cool. It's so different, and it's just a great story of we have an existing space and it fit for now perfectly. Awesome. But you were saying something about the being on the coast and being in South Carolina and the temperature ranges and the humidity. Tell us a little bit about that as an advantage to perhaps other geographies that are probably more expected, like in the Tennessee, Kentucky belt.
Where we are, or on the water in South Carolina, our temperature changes drastically during the day. The humidity
From below
changes.
freezing to 70 degrees.
Yeah, that's true. This is true. Yeah.
And we don't get generally the really cold weathers, or if we do, not for very long. Whereas in places like Kentucky, it will stay under 40 degrees for a very long time, and the alcohol doesn't move as much when it's colder, moving in and out of the barrel. So our bourbon goes in and out of the barrel a lot more frequently because our weather is different, our atmosphere is different.
The constant changing of the humidity and the pressures.
Rather than,
I mean, barrels that never leaked, I'll walk out there and barrel's been sitting there almost 2 years, never leaked a drop, and now it's leaking. Because the barometric pressure, the humidity both changed so fast.
Yeah.
The wood can't keep up.
Yeah, right. That's wild. So we've just poured the barrel strength.
Beautiful color.
Yeah.
Dude,
we're all digging it.
Alton.
Yeah, it doesn't look like 2-year-old bourbon, does it?
No.
Doesn't taste like it at all.
So Brian, tell me, this is not a term I'm familiar with. Coosa cut. What is that?
Okay, so the Coosa Cut is a waterway near here.
Okay.
In between Gata Island and the St. Helena Sound. So all of our alcohols, all of our liquors are named after something local. Our moonshine is St. Helena Shine, which is the next island, or 2 islands from where we're at.
Okay.
Our vodka is King Tide Vodka. Our rum is Boundary Street Rum because that's where we are. Our aged rum is 1569, which is the first settlement in Beaufort County was 1569, and it was on what is now Paris Island Marine Base. They just recently found it. Our gin is Mossy Oaks Gin because
That's
our Spanish
moss. Yeah, I had that too.
If you ever come down here, it hangs off the trees everywhere.
Yeah.
But it is not an ingredient, regardless of what someone competition tastes.
It was really good. That was a citrusy.
So here's what I love. I was just looking at Derek brought it's not a pamphlet, but a card from your distillery.
Yes.
So here's what I love about all your stuff is because you put in bold letters in all of them: vodka, gin, shine, and bourbon. Whereas a lot of the brands, the bourbon is really smaller. The rum, the name is bigger than what it's actually in the bottle. And I love that. I think that's a really cool differentiation that you guys have in your product that you sell. And I think it really, on a shelf, would look really cool.
Mm-hmm. Packaging is pretty sweet.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm a little bit lost for words here. I love a higher proof. I can't believe this is that young of a bourbon.
I
get that a lot. Especially from guys who drink a lot of bourbon. They're like, there's no way. And I'm like, you can look at the barrel. I mean, it has the date on it.
I would call this a good little bastard, not a
good little bastard. Damn right. Holy cow. Yeah,
I'm a rotten little bastard, but I make good bourbon.
Yeah, Brian, don't change a thing about this bourbon. Holy cow.
Yeah, this is great.
Yeah, this is really good.
Yep.
Dangerously good.
Yeah. Yeah. Because you can feel the heat, but it's not like step back. It's like, wow, this is fulfilling. It's great.
It has such a full flavor, and it's a great finish. I don't know how to describe it.
Now, Brigid, obviously Brian is probably tasting to the point where his taste buds are numb. Are you into bourbon equally, or do you?
No, that was
a learning experience too.
He came back and said, "We need to learn about bourbon," and I said, "Okay, so let's learn about bourbon." I'm a vodka drinker, or I would, Irish whiskey, wine, more of that. So I'm learning a lot more about the bourbon. I actually just went through the bourbon steward.
Oh yeah.
Course, the Stave and Thief. So
yep.
Because that's all new to me. The fact that you can taste all these different things in something, and it really is. I mean, it's kind of interesting when you get them all together and you learn what you like and what you don't like. And I mean, it's more complex than just like vodka or something.
Yeah.
Right.
So I'm learning to appreciate that. My palate is nowhere near Brian's because he'll have me come out to the still when the white dog's coming off of the still. And he's like, "Well, here, can you taste that?" And I'm like, "Yeah, no, I don't
That's hard.
That's still a work in progress, but
I would probably be right there with you, Brigid, on the white dog for sure.
I do enjoy the sampling of it. I will definitely sign up for any of that.
That's great. Now, Brian, do you tend to like the higher proof?
What do I got at the house right now? We got 93 proof at the house right now, and 90 proof American whiskey because we filled that up.
You paid retail for both of those, by the way.
Of course.
Actually, the Irish whiskey was the test bottle.
Got it.
So that's
American
the one,
whiskey.
or American whiskey.
Did you-
Ireland sent us a cease and desist.
That's right. I forgot about that story.
Did you really?
Ireland itself.
yeah.
The Ireland.
The Ireland, Mr. Ireland.
We made an American whiskey and we put on it that it was Irish style because it's made in a mash bill that's similar to what they do in Ireland. And
Oh, that's a no-no.
Irish descent.
Yeah.
Yes, and Ireland said you can't do
That's
that.
a no-no.
I think you guys.
Yeah.
I think you guys. That's a sign that you've made it. That a country has recognized that you are in existence.
You know, as soon as they said you can't have it, we're like, okay, absolutely not arguing with them. So
Okay, but I have to ask: did you frame that
I was
letter
going to
and put
say
it
the
up
same
somewhere?
thing, Kurt.
It's right there.
That
That's
is
awesome.
awesome.
Yeah, I think
She didn't want to frame it for a long time, but everybody's
my-
like, you got to frame that.
Yeah.
Are you?
Hey there, you little
Are you
rotten
kidding me?
bastard.
yeah, the marketer in me's jumping out. We're gonna start.
I
We're
know.
gonna start a feud with Ireland.
Oh my
the
God.
Rotten Little Bastard takes on Ireland.
Takes on the bloody Irish.
So smart.
No. Their lawyers will definitely go for it. So that's,
We just want to answer the call.
Just hide.
Block. All right, so I know we were taking a lot of time. This is awesome. This is fascinating. You guys are exactly the type of people we love meeting through this process with the passion and the willing to take a risk. One part of the journey that may or may not be interesting, but I want to hear about it anyway is, okay, you Brian, you were talking about Las Vegas. You grew up in Vegas. Were you guys originally in Vegas and relocated to South Carolina, or were you at South Carolina? And so Beaufort was a natural place to start. I'm trying to figure out how you ended up in lovely Beaufort, South Carolina.
So I grew up in Las Vegas, and she moved there after college.
Okay.
Then we met, got married, had a couple of kids, and she basically said, I'm not raising my kids in Vegas. And I'm like, you don't want them to turn out like me? She said, exactly.
his mom was there saying, get these kids out of Vegas.
Get your kids the hell out of Vegas.
Okay.
My dad had a job opening out here in Beaufort, so we moved to Beaufort in 2003.
Okay.
So we've been here for a while. We raise our kids, and our youngest is in college, and so we, it just this idea is his eventual retirement plan.
Yep.
So that's
I can't sit around all day, but I could come and make liquor and talk to people.
Hey.
we were already here, so so we didn't even think about any place else because we love Beaufort.
Yeah, it's a great place, and honestly, I think it's funny that I didn't realize you guys were the first distiller there. But you talk about low country, slow country, and bourbon is meant to be enjoyed slow, and that fits great with the brand. It fits great with what you want to do. I can imagine it won't be long till you're at a point where you can hang out at the distillery, do a couple of tours, and enjoy a pour with a guest or whatever. So this has been great.
That's the goal.
I can't wait for that day.
All right, anything then, and then we'll wrap it up with anything that, again, for the listeners out there, we want to encourage people. We'll be back down there. Derek obviously got to tour, but we love to take a good road trip, so we'll come by and see you guys. But anything you'd like to talk about you're doing from a marketing perspective, anything to grow the distillery other than making just great product and letting it roll?
They can go to our website and order it.
Yeah, we just recently started being able to ship into the states that will allow shipping.
Oh, that's great.
Because of course that's always a thing. So there's links from our websites. And now that we're also doing more classes, mixology classes. We're doing a barrel aged spirits and chocolate class. Things like that. Trying to get people to come in and also to try the different things. We do paint and sips, things like that, just to have a little fun. We don't have the space for like concerts or anything big like that. We still want to keep classes small and still to keep the conversation going.
Excellent.
Well, listen, we're like footloose here in North Carolina. We have to cross the border for anything we're not supposed to have. So.
I bootleg a lot. We're all mules.
Yeah, we got mules all over the place. But that's awesome. Man. Can you ship to North Carolina? Do you know?
No.
I don't know.
I don't know. You have to go on the website.
We'll go check that out.
We ship it to Washington, D.C., and the company there can ship to places we can't.
Oh, they distribute. Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
I'll be
South Carolina we can only ship to like 4 or 5 places.
Yeah.
But Washington D.C. is one of them, and they can ship to more places.
There you
Gotcha.
go. Well,
As they say on White Christmas, everybody's got an angle.
Everyone's got a
Yeah.
well,
Boxes to them.
we work for Bourbon guys, so we're happy to hop on a car and come down there and help barrel stuff. And my daughter's going to be at in Savannah for the next 4 years for college, so you're going to see my face at some
Going
point.
to
So.
SCAD?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she's going to SCAD. Yep.
Nice. Good
Yeah,
choice.
so you'll see
Yeah.
that handsome guy a few times.
Oh, yeah. So I'll be the mule for these guys to bring back more of that 123 proof. So
SCAD's only about 45 minutes from here.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's perfect.
So
On the way.
Don't tell his wife that.
Yes. You might need to bring some of this home.
too late. She's got a bourbon nose.
To run.
Yeah, you might need to bring that bottle home.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I've got the closing question, and then Kurt's going to do our famous last call, which gives him a couple minutes to think about what the question's going to be.
Just realized I have to do it.
But my closing question is: so we've all talked, and we've all dreamed what you've done, right? So we've all talked about, oh, we should do that. We should open a distillery. We should have Bourbon Boys or Bourbon On brand, and Liminal's another brand that Kurt wants to do, and it's the question we've got is, what would be so someone's on the fence, someone's thinking about it. What would you tell them to bring that dream to action?
I've actually told people that have came here and hung out with me and went through seen what I do, and they're just like, okay, so how do you get to where you can open one of these things?
Yeah.
And the school I went to gives you all the information that was necessary. So if you really wanted to open a distillery, go to Moonshine University, and they will take you through the entire process from making liquors to dealing with the TPB to how to design a cola and a label, proofing, regulations, all that stuff. Because, I know a lot of moonshiners that make good liquor, but they can't do what I'm doing.
And the school also gave us the consultants that you could help us with, all of the paperwork and
how do you write a business plan for a distillery? I have no idea.
all my
Let's
really
call this guy. So it's research and someplace that has that knowledge.
Yep. And then choosing to go through a bank for financing versus just saving up and putting it all on red number
there's no
7.
way we could have just saved up for this.
Couldn't have saved up this kind of money.
No,
Okay.
no, we
All right.
definitely
That's good to know too. That's good to know.
And there are only certain banks that will finance distilleries.
Yes.
That we found
That's
out.
interesting.
It's actually a special bank that did alcohol businesses only.
Our local bank that we've been banking with forever didn't.
They didn't even want to look at it.
No.
It's the Tipsy Pig Bank. I think.
Yeah.
Piggy Bank.
These guys are rolling in it.
I'm telling you, there's something there.
The Tipsy Piggy Bank.
It's a piggy
The
bank.
tipsy pig.
Tipsy piggy bank.
I'm from Wisconsin. We would do cow tipping, so that's actually a real thing as well.
Did you really do that?
Yes, that's actually a real thing in Wisconsin. I hate to say it.
Proud of it.
I hate to
I
say
grew
it.
up in the desert. I used to catch rattlesnakes and stuff like that. And people are like, oh, yeah, you can knock over a cow.
You can.
You can't knock over a cow.
Yeah, that's why they call it cow tipping.
I want to see Kurt catch a rattlesnake.
I have no interest in catching a
Just one time.
rattlesnake.
Just one.
Just one time.
That's all it'll take. It's just one time.
One time.
Remember that one time?
Yeah. You remember when Kurt got that rattlesnake?
He was such a nice guy.
Yeah. Oh. BFB.
Yeah, BFB. That's right. That's me. All right. So our kind of tradition here is we do what's called last call. So we create a scenario, and then you have to answer the question based on which of the bourbons we were trying today or that night, whatever night it is, and why you would pick that one. So I was tagged with last call today. So given something you just said gave me a different idea. So if you were sitting down with the Prime Minister, if they have one, of Ireland,
Nice.
in order to combat the letter that you received from the country of Ireland to say, no, we have the right to say what we say, which bourbon would you give him and why? Or her. Don't want to assume it's him.
We'll check with the Google truck.
We'll text with the Google truck. Go with me here. Just go with me here.
Which of these two, Kurt? Or just
Which
bourbon?
of these two? And I guess...
Our bourbons?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I would go with the higher proof because I figured, candy is dandy, but liquor's quicker, and that's higher proof.
Can you say that again? Candy is dandy, but liquor is quicker. I love. There's another great T-shirt. You guys, you got to make all these T-shirts.
Brian's got them all copyrighted.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, guys.
I just went to the Google truck.
Seriously, you went to the Google truck? Okay.
The current Prime Minister of Ireland is Leo Varadkar. Varadkar.
I just texted him, actually.
He's a young guy.
Yeah.
You did.
Yeah, no more cease and desist.
If he's a young guy, you might enjoy it.
Hey, he's 44.
Wow.
Look at that.
Born in Dublin.
A lot younger than me.
Yep.
I'd go 93. I'd go with the nice, smooth. Leo, look at this. This is a great product. People enjoy it. They will think fondly of your product, of your Irish whiskey heritage, because this is so good. So why wouldn't you want to take advantage of this? You can ride my coattails, Leo.
Oh, look at there. Look at there.
The rotten little bastard has us under control.
Oh, the rotten little bastard. I'm 123 all the way. Again, 2-year bourbon, you drink it, you're like, there's no way that's a 2-year. And I think he would have a sip of this and be like, I can't believe I just sent those guys a cease and desist. Like, he'd be embarrassed at that point. So I'd do the 123 all day.
I'm going to echo that. I think it's the 123, and I think that the challenge is neither of us are leaving this table until that bottle of 123 is done. And then we make the decision.
Yeah,
no decisions until we flip that bottle over. And at that point,
that's when you.
That's exactly, yeah.
And a rougher morning.
That's when you say candy is dandy, liquor is quicker.
That's for sure.
I love that.
But I could see you guys rolling up the doors, pulling out a couple chairs, staring out into the marsh. Just enjoying.
Sheep. Oh, you mean in South Carolina? I'm sorry.
Oh, we're not going there. Fuck that. He's gonna call. He can come to our doorstep. Yes, he can come to the Low Country, and we'll settle this thing the right way.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm doing that 123 all day long. Well, as long as I can
sit upright.
Yes, so I don't fall asleep. But yeah, that is a good one. That is really good.
It is really good.
Yeah. Great stuff.
Yeah.
Great story. Great work. Great product.
Yeah, for sure.
Kurtron, did you go?
I didn't. I would go to the 1, 2, 3 as well, and here's why I would. I would say 3 is for three little petals on a clover, which is Irish. 3-leaf clover.
Okay. Isn't it a 4-leaf clover?
Well, we're going. No, the lucky clover is a 3-leaf, isn't it?
Oh,
Shamrock is 3.
Okay.
Will you stop doing that? Just let me go with my answer.
Check the Google.
So 3, 2 for 2-year, 1 for number 1 bourbon.
Oh, I like it.
Look at that.
That'll work. We'll give you that. That's good. I like it.
You ruined it.
I ruined that. This is what I did.
This is what happens, Brigid and Brian. They always do this. They always do this to
Kurt,
me.
I think your last call pivot was fantastic.
Thank you.
It was pretty brilliant.
Yeah. Well, I'm guessing all 3 of you were there, and you're just not telling me because you always go everywhere without me. So
No, that's not true.
We weren't going to bring that up.
We went to we went to Kentucky with you once.
yeah, once.
This is awesome.
This has been great, you guys.
Yeah.
Really good to meet you, and amazing product. So here's to you, as we say.
Yep.
Bourbon on.
Bourbon on.
Bourbon on.
Everybody should try this. This is
Bourbon
great.
on. Yep.
Check out the website. Find out if they'll ship to you. Otherwise, you got to journey to the Low Country, which is not a bad thing at all.
No, it's a good place to be.
Yep.
Thanks a lot, you guys.
Brian, Brigid, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Really enjoyed it. We'll see you.
Cheers and bourbon on, kids.
We'll see you in the Low Country.